Let's go through some details on a Black Ops 2 remake, what that would look like in terms of campaign, multiplayer, and zombies fully being remade. We'll look at some recent info on a potential free-to-play zombies title, the Microsoft acquisition of Activision, how that opens the door for more remakes between the premium Call of Duty releases, and we'll go through some new info we just got today on the matter. Be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. We're super close to 90K on the channel, so seriously, thank you guys so much for the recent support. It really means a lot to me. Before we get into the info, I want to quickly talk to you guys about this really fun game on Steam called Nova Drift. It's a cool mixture of a classic arcadey space combat game with the depth and strategy of an action role-playing game. It's super simple to hop in and play. All I did was hold S on my keyboard to attack, point in the direction I want to go in, and then left click on the mouse to actually charge and move in that direction. Super simple to play. The game offers nearly endless player configurations and upgrades. The more and more time goes on, the more and more it gets difficult. Those will be definitely needed in your levels, and the upgrade menu gives you a quick look at some of the stuff you could use here. This one creates a powerful electromagnetic blast center on you. It hits in 2 radial waves and fires secondary projectiles in a 240-degree cone. It also gives you a bunch of stats for different types of damages and rates of fire. The game is in early access right now with a full release later on this year. During this early access period, the game has been receiving tons of new upgrades, challenges for veteran players, optimizations, and much more. It recently had a huge Enemies 2.0 update that just came out. It's the largest update ever for this game. It included new enemies, of course, dynamic waves, new enemy formations, and much more. Hardcore Gamer gave this review of the game recently. Nova Drift is a big, endless, beautiful universe of arcade combat, fusing the modern indie gaming style with the deepest roots of gaming history. It's rated overwhelmingly positive on Steam as well. Tons of people are enjoying it. I definitely recommend you guys check this game out. Of course, links will be down below in the description. And thanks again to Nova Drift for sponsoring today's video. Now, going back to the video, I'm going to do this a bit differently, a bit out of order. I'm going to start off with the zombies first, and then we'll do multiplayer, and then we'll end off with campaign. And in between that, we'll go through all the new news topics and the information we have, the evidence we have, likely remakes in the future, and all of the good stuff. So the zombie situation is super interesting for me for a number of reasons. I mean, first off, it's obvious. I've said this before. It's my favorite zombies mode that Treyarch has given us of all time. I think BO2 overall had such a unique and fun collection of maps. Transit, Nuketown, Die Rise, Mob of the Dead, Buried, and of course Origins. I mean, I'm not saying every map was S tier, of course. You have some of the worst maps and some of the best maps of all time. But what I am saying is that they're all super unique, super fun in their own right, and very memorable maps for a variety of reasons, and you could leave them down below in the comment section. But of course, the main thing here is that 3 of these BO2 maps have never been remade or remastered before: Transit, Die Rise, and Buried. Now, these maps, as you guys know, were rumored to release in Black Ops 4 as full remakes. There was a ton of evidence that that was going to happen. You had assets for Transit and Buried in Blackout, Black Ops 4's BR mode. You had assets in the files. You had menus pop up, leaked images. I mean, there's so much stuff that, we knew it was going to happen in BO4. Of course, it didn't happen because Black Ops 4 didn't perform as well as they expected. Treyarch had to shift gears and work on Black Ops Cold War instead, so all of that content was unfortunately scrapped. Then there were rumors that the maps would release on Cold War. Right now, we are in Cold War's Year 2 DLC season. If we look at the past, Zombies Chronicles 1 released in May of 2017, which was during Black Ops 3's Year 2 season, so technically, we could still see Zombies Chronicles 2, those 3 maps release in Black Ops Cold War around this May, or maybe early summer, whatever they want to do. It still is possible, but again, we don't know for sure just yet. We just got our first couple of Cold War Year 2 items. Nothing for zombies yet in the game. We just got WMD. We're going to get Jungle very soon. So again, it's up in the air, but it still is possible. But now we have some more developments, some new information that opens the door to see these BO2 maps being remade. The first one is a potential zombies free-to-play title releasing in 2023. Recently, credible leaker Ralph over on Twitter, he's been giving us a bunch of MW2 info. He hinted at the possibility of a zombies free-to-play title in 2023, as Call of Duty will not have a full premium game release that year. And since Treyarch's COD isn't until 2024, that opens the door for a zombies game to fill the gap because there's going to be no zombies content pretty much until then, unless we get Cold War Year 2 content, which isn't confirmed. And at that point, MW2 will be in its second year of content. We know for sure that MW2 will get 2 years of DLC, so there's going to be no zombies content until 2024 unless we get that free-to-play title or unless Cold War gets 3 DLC seasons. But it would make complete sense to have a free-to-play title to fill the gap for the lack of zombies content, and it most likely would not interfere with MW2 and Warzone 2's success because the zombies community and that community are kind of completely different and they could all coexist together in my eyes. But again, that's not confirmed, that's just the info we have, and the reason why that relates to a BO2 remake and the zombies maps here is because, well, if we're getting the Black Ops 2 zombies maps in the free-to-play title, do we even need a BO2 remake at that point? Maybe not for zombies. I mean, let me know down below. If we get those BO2 zombies maps in a free-to-play title, is there a need for a separate Black Ops 2 remake? Probably not. Now, maybe you guys want to still see it for multiplayer and for campaign, and we'll talk about that later on in the video, of course, but more on zombies now. More questions come into play. Do we want more than just the 3 Zombies Chronicles 2 maps? Do we want, the maps to be changed a lot, fully remade, or just faithfully remastered? And finally, what engine do we want these maps on? So first off here, I think Treyarch should definitely prioritize these 3 maps that haven't been remade or remastered. If they have extra time, bring all of the BO2 maps back, but if not, Transit, Die Rise, and Buried should be their focus. Now, for how much should they change these maps? That's a very interesting topic as well. I think Transit, Die Rise, and Buried should definitely be full-on remakes, while the other maps, maybe Nuketown, Mob of the Dead, especially Origins, should just be faithful remasters. And you can kind of exclude Nuketown from that. We obviously saw that remade in Alpha Omega BO4, but I would still want to see Nuketown, OG BO2 Nuketown return, Mob Origins return the same as well. Maybe you could make the argument that a full Origins remake would be sick. Let me know down below. But for the most part, I think it makes the most sense to do full remakes on Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, and more specifically Transit and Die Rise, because those 2 maps were just fundamentally flawed at their launches. And I've been playing a bunch of custom zombies maps over on my Facebook gaming channel. Link is down below. Really do appreciate if you guys follow me over there. We've been checking out Transit remakes, Die Rise remakes, different remade maps, and they've been giving me a lot of great ideas as to what a new remake could look like of these maps. Of course, I have no say in it. I'm not a developer, but it's just giving me ideas to think about, what could a Transit remake look like? What could a full Die Rise remake look like? So if you guys want to watch those videos, super fun stuff there. I'll be posting them very soon. Be sure to check out the Facebook gaming page. Links again are down below. Really do appreciate it, guys. But for these maps here, of course, Transit and Die Rise, back then in BO2, this is more on Transit, but for Die Rise as well, they had so much ambition. They wanted to do so much for these maps, but you had console limitations, you had time constraints as well. I mean, there are leaks about them wanting to have a Transit Bust Route B, different Easter eggs, a day and night cycle, a version of the map with no lava, different locations. I mean, they wanted to do so much, different game modes as well. There was this meat game mode for Transit that never came to be because they just didn't have enough time to do it. But now they have a lot more time, the resources, the technology to fully realize what Transit could have been. It was way ahead of its time, and I think it makes the most sense to have a full remake for that map. Die Rise as well. There have been so many things about having teleporters on Die Rise. We could see some stuff like the zip lines from Mauer der Toten. Adding that to Die Rise between the skyscrapers would be sick as well, would make the map flow a lot better, making the elevators work differently, making it easier to get your perks, adding a whole new skyscraper, expanding the map. I mean, they could do so much with Die Rise, and even Buried as well. I think Buried was overall a pretty easy, solid map, pretty good layout, but expanding that map would still be super sick as well. Being able to go above Buried on top of that desert there would be super cool. So they could do so much with those 3 maps, fully remaking them. We'll see what ends up happening, but I think those should definitely be their priority. Now, the last thing here, I would absolutely love to see these maps on Cold War's engine. I think most of, if not all of the past Treyarch zombie maps would be amazing and play so good on Cold War's engine right now, and that's why I kind of want them to release in this year 2 season of Black Ops Cold War. But it seems more likely that we'll either see these maps in the potential Zombies free-to-play title, a separate Black Ops 2 remake, or in Treyarch's Call of Duty 2024 title. Now, if the Zombies free-to-play title is on Cold War's engine, or at least it's very similar to Cold War's engine, I'll be fine with that. If it's on the IW8 engine, I wouldn't be mad, but I would be a bit concerned because the IW8 engine, I love it. I really do enjoy it, but it definitely doesn't have that Treyarch feel, that Treyarch touch. And I don't know for sure, but I'd imagine it would be a bit weird to play Transit on that engine over the BO2 engine or the Cold War engine. So we can't say for sure what we're gonna get. If there is a separate Black Ops 2 remake, I'm assuming it would be an updated version of the Black Ops 2 engine. I'm assuming maybe it's either on the Cold War engine as well. I don't think they would do an IW8 engine for the BO2 remake. Maybe they would. I feel like that would be a huge mistake, but again, you know, we'll see what ends up happening. Of course, nothing is confirmed, but to move on here to multiplayer, this is also super interesting. Black Ops 2 Multiplayer, of course, is my favorite MP of all time. It's right above MW3, and we can go through my list in a different video, but Black Ops 2 did have some annoying and cheesy things about the multiplayer, but overall, the maps were amazing. The DLC maps were amazing. The gunplay was super fun. The gameplay was just so addicting. But unfortunately, my opinion here is that out of all the modes, this is probably the least possible to be remade. And the reason why I say that is because most likely Activision's main concern is that they don't want to split the Call of Duty community. This is one of the main theories as to why we think they won't release the MW2 remastered multiplayer that was leaked and rumored, because they might think it's going to take away from the new Warzone updates and, you know, whatever the current Call of Duty is at that time. Now, if the Black Ops 2 MP remake or the overall Black Ops 2 remake was released during an off year like 2023, where there's no new COD to compete with, that could obviously work. I mean, the updates could go alongside of Warzone, just like you have now. You have a new roadmap, you have Warzone updates, you have the current Call of Duty updated as well, and that could make perfect sense, and they could have a Black Ops 2 themed Warzone map to really integrate the two together. But as we know, 2023 will be MW2's year 2, and the Warzone map releasing later on this year will be an MW2 themed map. So it's very likely that in 2023 that map will not change, and a Black Ops 2 remake releasing then alongside of an MW2 themed Warzone map just doesn't make a lot of sense. So maybe if that Black Ops 2 remake releases in 2025 or something, or maybe alongside Treyarch's 2024 COD, that would make more sense, and they have a Warzone themed BO2 map. But for now, it doesn't make too much sense here. And now for COD 2024, we had rumors that that game would be a Black Ops 2 style game, and if it really is true that that's going to be similar to BO2 and they're going to take heavy inspiration from that game, the COD 2024 multiplayer will be in essence a Black Ops 2 styled or remastered MP. It won't be exactly a remastered MP, but it'll pretty much be just that, all things considered. It'll probably have a bunch of Black Ops 2 remakes there, so you'll see a bunch of old BO2 maps, just like Cold War. You'll have probably near future styled weapons and streaks like Black Ops 2 as well, and other similar but reworked and new Black Ops 2 features. So at that point, if that's the case, if it's very similar to BO2, just an updated version of the game, but all new stuff, but similar to the game, do we even need a BO2 remaster for the multiplayer at least? Maybe. I mean, I would still love to see a separate MP remastered, of course. Even if COD 2024 is similar and takes heavy inspiration from Black Ops 2, I still love the game. I would still want to see it, but at that point, I could see why Activision might say, you know what, it doesn't make much sense for us to do this. Now, for Black Ops 2's campaign being remastered, this one is the easiest for them to do, makes the most sense. This would be alongside, hopefully, World.War's campaign, Black Ops 1's campaign being remastered as well. It would all be super cool. I would rather them focus on zombies and then MP, but of course, they've done remastered COD campaigns before. It just makes sense for them to do that as well. And as we saw with MW2's campaign remastered, it doesn't really interfere with any of the current Call of Duty updates, so they could drop it whenever they want to drop it. So that's that with the campaign. I liked Black Ops 2 campaign. Not my favorite, but it deserves a remaster eventually. So if we just get that, that would be cool to see. But now for the overall BO2 remake remaster, whatever you want to call it, the recent Microsoft acquisition of Activision makes all of this stuff a lot more likely, a lot more plausible than ever before. I mean, we've seen so many reports from Activision that the devs are loving this news. It'll allow them to, put more time and effort into their games. There are different chances of seeing remakes and other CODs release on the Xbox Game Pass as well. More effort being put into that. Of course, they're not releasing new Call of Duties every year, which gives them more opportunities and more chances to release other side projects like Call of Duty remakes, like like other just different types of COD games, maybe a third-person COD game, stuff like that. So all of this stuff is a lot more likely under Microsoft's control. Of course, there is the risk that some of this content might be exclusive to Xbox, whether it's the entire game, whether it's parts of the game, some DLC. It might be exclusive to Xbox, but I think for the most part, we'll be fine with that. But that definitely is something to think about here. But now today, we just got some new info regarding these future Call of Duty remasters. Credible leaker Ralph over on Twitter tweeted this out. Activision are reportedly considering releasing remastered Call of Duty titles repurposed for newer consoles to fill out the empty space between premium Call of Duty titles. So this is super cool news, super exciting news. This is probably some of the biggest news we've ever had about Call of Duty releasing more remakes and remasters, and it also shows us that not only will 2023 be a year in which we don't see a premium COD release, it seems like there will be multiple gap years in between these new Call of Duties. Presumably, IW releases their COD in 2022 this year, there's a gap year, Treyarch in 2024, IW in 2025, and then another gap year, so that could work out super well. And in those gap years, we see remakes, remasters, etc. So insane news here. I love to see this. Of course, that gives us so much hope for a Black Ops 2 remake, a MW2 remake as well. We'll see. But then we got this info after that, which is super weird. Ralph says, World at War, that's really good. I would love to see a World at War remake. But then he says Call of Duty 1 and 2, backwards compatibility for COD 4 Modern Warfare Remastered are currently what's in conversation. Everything else was described by an associate as complicated. So let me just say first off here, if anyone over at Call of Duty is watching this, I mean, World at War would be super exciting, but I don't know if anyone wants to see COD 1, COD 2, COD 3, COD 4 again as well. I get it might be easier for them to do that, and maybe there are some legitimate issues with giving us a BO1, BO2 remake, an MW2, MW3 remake, but those 4 Call of Duties would be the top CODs people would want to see. They would sell super well, and it would be a huge, huge success. And I think having a COD 1 remake not only would probably not sell that well, but it would give people a bad taste in their mouth, because you're going to have all the replies of that tweet announcing it saying, what about a BO2 remake? What about a Black Ops 1 MW2 remake? Like, we don't want a COD 1, COD 2 remake. What about all of these other great classic Call of Duties? So, I don't know. I think, you know, this news still gives us some hope, and it brings us in the right direction, because I think they are thinking and planning on making huge COD remakes for the future. And I definitely think they've had talks and plans about a BO2 remake. But if they decide to not go in that direction and just go in this direction here, World at War I'm fine with. Super cool stuff. But COD 1, COD 2, backwards compatibility for COD 4 MW Remastered. I don't think they should even waste their time on that. So hopefully they focus on the games that were super popular, super classic. For me, Black Ops 2, MW3. Those 2 games would be insane to see remade. I know people would say MW2 as well, and even Black Ops 1. So those 4 games would be something they should definitely focus on. If they release those 4 games fully remade in those gap years for the next couple of years, they are set, man. They are so set. So hopefully that happens. We'll see very soon. Let me know your opinions on all of this down below. If you did enjoy the video and you're new, be sure to subscribe. Let me know if you want me to go through some more stuff on other CODs being remade. I could do a full video on Black Ops 1, MW2, MW3. Let me know if you guys want to see that down below. There are 2 other videos that may interest you, so be sure to check one of them out. Real do appreciate it, guys. Shout out to the YouTube channel members as always, and I will see you guys in the next video or live stream. Peace out, guys.